Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. My name is Matt Morris. We are live right now on Twitch, Rumble, as well as on YouTube. Folks, today, boy, howdy, I know I say this every day, but really, we have a lot to talk about today. Folks, we just got some absolutely stellar news about what to expect as we slowly inch our way towards midterm election season. Folks, I'm going to be honest here. Not even I can believe the news that we just got last night. And frankly, I'm sitting here sort of pinching myself to make sure that I am not dreaming. Massive, stellar, phenomenal news that has big implications for midterms coming up very shortly. We're going to break it all down. We also have some absolutely massive news pertaining to President Trump's blockade of the now infamous Strait of Hormuz. Trump has been slowly increasing the pressure on the Iranian regime, as you might have noticed. And actually, I kid you not, we are starting to see, because of this pressure, we are now starting to see the Iranian people inside of Iran rise up and take matters into their own hands. What's more, it seems like the Iranian regime, and I kid you not, I will show you the proof, the Iranian regime is pretty much on the cusp of surrendering, capitulating completely, entirely. I will show you what that looks like today. You are going to like this. You're almost not even going to believe it. Massive updates pertaining to Iran today in these negotiations. Trump also just dropped one of his most consequential Truth Social posts of all time earlier this morning. And as a little bit of a spoiler here, China is absolutely panicking. This post has the CCP China in really a hysterical fit. On top of that, as the entire world has been hyper-fixated on Iran, the war with Iran, and the Strait of Hormuz, President Trump has just in the last 48 hours very quietly pulled off what is perhaps one of the single most consequential geopolitical victories of all time. And absolutely no one saw it coming. In fact, very few people have even remarked on it. Not even China saw it coming. Today, we're going to break all that down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for being here today. Lovely, what is it, a Wednesday morning? Lovely Wednesday morning. Thank you all. Make sure, if you would be so kind as to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe before we get into this, folks. Stick around for today's entire show. We have a lot to talk about. Now, folks, with all of that introductory preamble out of the way, let's go ahead and start off today's broadcast. Let's go ahead and start off today's show by talking about this absolutely stunning, stellar, phenomenal domestic news pertaining to the upcoming midterm elections. Like I said, I woke up today and I had to pinch myself. I couldn't even believe it. Let me get this ready. Let me pull it up here. Ladies and gentlemen, last night, a series of special elections were held across the country. And I'm not kidding when I say this, but in every single one of these special elections, the Republicans absolutely blew out their far-left competition, the Democrats. In fact, every single Republican actually outperformed President Trump's very own 2024 margins in the recent presidential election. Folks, this is absolutely amazing news as we head towards midterms. And I'll tell you what, there's actually more than what meets the eye pertaining to this entire situation in a good way. So what do you say we break it all down? First off, folks, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this. 3 major Republican victories last night. And in all 3 races, the Republicans not only won big in all 3 of them, but increased on President Trump's 2024 margins. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. West Miami Mayor plus 11, West Miami City Council plus 18, Rio Rancho, New Mexico Mayor plus 30. Solid Republican over performances, a good indicator for President Trump as well as the entire GOP heading into midterms. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a little bit of a closer look here. West Miami mayoral election. Trump was plus 31. This Republican, Eric Diaz-Padrón, overperformed Trump by 11 points. 11 points overperformed Trump. West Miami City Commissioner Board is on the City Council, West Miami City Council. Trump was plus 31. This guy added 18 points. Gus Caballos added 18 points onto Trump's performance. He outperformed Trump by 18%. Another one here, the third and final one we're going to talk about, the new mayor in New Mexico of Rio Rancho, Paul Weimer. Let's see, Trump won Rio Rancho by a margin of 3 points. Paul Weimer is winning this election by a 25 point. He outperformed Trump by 25 points for a total of 28-point margin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely shocking, but there's more to the picture, like I said, than meets the eye. Worth noting, folks, all three of these elections took place in what? Very Hispanic areas. So what this does is this massive level of overperformance by the GOP really across the country last night. What this does is push back on this narrative that we've all been hearing for months now, that the GOP has lost the support of Hispanic voters across the country because of President Trump's ongoing mass deportations. Well, guess what? That narrative was wrong. As we now know, not only has the GOP not lost support of Hispanic voters, but as things currently stand with the outcome of these elections, these special elections last night, as things currently seem, the GOP has perhaps actually gained the support of even more Hispanic voters against all odds. Perhaps not against all odds, but most certainly against this never-ending anti-Trump fear-mongering narrative. What's more, we've all been hearing from the panicans that MAGA is dead. We've been hearing this from the panicans and the fear-mongers, if you will. MAGA is dead. And that President Trump has been hemorrhaging support. Well, if that were true, then how is the GOP, as of last night, in 3 different elections in different places across the country, actually overperforming Trump's own numbers in not 1, but 3 different elections just last night? It's almost as if all of the panicans and all of the fearmongers were wrong. In fact, really, they were dead wrong. But you know what? Between you and me, on top of last night's absolutely stunning GOP performance, there are some very interesting things going on behind the scenes in this country right now that, frankly, between you and me, have the potential to further change this entire national dynamic as we head towards midterms in a way that I think all of you are going to appreciate. Let's break down what some of those things look like. You see, by nature of redistricting, the Republicans are set to automatically pick up somewhere around 6 extra seats in the U.S. House of Representatives by default, before anyone has even voted. That's right, we are the Republicans. We are winning the ongoing redistricting war. The Democrats, they've been trying to do it. We've been doing it better. And of course, this is accomplished by finally ripping apart all of the Democrats' racially gerrymandered voting districts, which were probably, by the way, unconstitutional in the first place, I might add. The Supreme Court is going to weigh in on that very soon, perhaps as soon as this Friday. We're going to find out. Then, on top of that, President Trump also recently signed a new executive order that absolutely cracks down on fraudulent mail-in voting, which is one of the Democrats' favorite mechanisms for election fraud, as you all know. And on top of that, rumor has it that President Trump is also planning on signing a voter ID and proof of citizenship executive order here in the very near future as well. So to say the least, going into midterms, Republicans are actually, and I don't want to jinx it. I don't want anyone here to get lazy or complacent. You need to vote, as do I. All of us do. We can't afford to sit any of this out. However, going into midterms, Republicans, frankly, are actually looking much better than many people are currently giving them credit for. But you want to know why people, let's do a recap here. Why are people still turning out and voting for Republicans right now? We're 14, 15 months into President Trump's second term here. What is compelling people to vote Republican still, in spite of all of the hysteria and the panicking and the fear mongering and the mainstream media saying MAGA is dead, etc.? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because people, Americans, recognize that President Trump, the Trump administration, genuinely is following through with all of his campaign promises. That's why. You want people to vote, you make them happy. People are happy, they vote. We saw that last night. In fact, let's talk about some of President Trump's campaign promises he has fulfilled in the realm of immigration, which is perhaps President Trump's biggest issue. If you could condense down, why did people vote for Trump? Why do people love Trump? One word answer, I would say probably immigration is probably the best answer. Well, let's break down some of these massive accomplishments. Let's run them through. President Trump's new $100,000 H-1B visa application fee has, guess what, caused a 90% reduction in new H-1B visa applications per the Cato Institute's Director of Immigration Studies. President Trump is slowly strangling to death the H-1B visa program. Thank God. Beyond this 90% reduction in new H-1B visa applications, so far already under the Trump administration, under the last 15 months, we've seen a 25% reduction in current H-1B visa holders. We're shutting it down, kicking them out. Trump is shutting this program down day by day. He's slowly putting pressure on it. That's how he works. We call this the boa constrictor method, if you will. What's more, breaking throughout the year of 2025, arrests of illegal aliens without criminal convictions increased by 770%, according to a recent study from the Deportation Data Project coming out of UC Berkeley. So we oftentimes hear in the media, well, everybody wants to arrest criminal illegal aliens, but not the other ones. Guess what? Hey, all of them are criminals. By nature of being in this country, you snuck in or you violated their immigration law. All of them are criminals, whether or not they've got a violent criminal conviction or have spent time in a prison cell. All of them are criminals. All of them need to go. So read this again. Throughout 2025, arrests of illegal aliens without criminal convictions has increased by 770%. This is exactly what we want to see. We're not done yet. Since stepping back into the White House, President Trump has seen legal border entries plummet by 99.9%. Folks, we have what is effectively a 100% shutdown of illegal immigration. Guess what? Here's the little secret that maybe we're not supposed to talk about. Trump has almost entirely shut down legal immigration as well. And hey, I'm not complaining. He shut it to a grinding halt. He has shut it down. What's more, breaking news, in 2025, the Trump administration sent out a record number of I-9 employment verification audits. Now, what's an I-9 audit? An I-9 employment verification audit is designed to disincentivize and prevent U.S. employers from hiring illegal alien workers. So for those of you that have been saying, well, President Trump needs to crack down on the employers that are hiring these illegal aliens, guess what? Look at the chart. Look at the I-9 employment verification audits that were going out during the Obama era, even Trump's first term. The Biden era, pretty much nothing. Trump is auditing the living hell out of U.S. employers saying, hey, you had better not be hiring illegal aliens. If you are, big time fine. If you keep it up, criminal penalties. This is exactly what we want to see. We're not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Over the last 14 months, the Trump administration has reopened over 115,000 immigrant cases that had previously been closed. What this does is allow all of these legal immigrants who had their cases closed to get deported. Notably, the Trump administration has reopened more immigration cases in just the last 14 months than were reopened in the previous 25 years combined. Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I ask you the question, why are people still voting for Republicans? Why is President Trump's approval across the country? Why are people still turning out to vote in elections? Why are things maybe not looking as bad as some people would say as we head into midterms? It's because guess what? President Trump is delivering on his promises. We have the facts, the data, the graphs to prove it. So folks, in summary, what all of this looks like, this is what it looks like to truly put America first. This is what it looks like. And that is why Americans are voting in droves, in record numbers, to keep the far left Democrats out of power. And you know what? Thank God. If we really want to put America first, we can never let these far left anti-American radicals ever have their dirty hands on the levers of power in this country. America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is our massive, just stunning domestic update. Like I said, I woke up this morning, I was laying in bed, I was on my phone. I could not believe it. 3 special election Republicans outperforming Trump. Couldn't believe it. Now we've got another story here, ladies and gentlemen. This is where we're going to talk about the Iranian regime and the blockade. Let's go and talk about this blockade. Bear with me here, folks. If you're new to the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, as of last night, we've officially started seeing Iranian revolutionaries, freedom fighters, rise up in their own country and start taking out members of the Iranian regime, of the IRGC specifically, on their own. Breaking news report, take a look at this. Confirmed, last night, a group of masked Iranians took out an individual named Mohammad Shirmohammadian. He was the commander of the Basij base in Tehran's district number 18. What's the Basij? The Basij is one of the 5 wings of the IRGC. So he's an IRGC commander. We are now, for the first time ever in the course of this 6-week conflict, we are now seeing Iranians themselves rise up in an attempt to combat the IRGC inside their own country. And why is this starting to happen inside of Iran? Why are we finally starting to see this? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because of the pressure that President Trump has been consistently applying on the Iranian regime, on the IRGC. Pressure that has now given the actual Iranian people the leverage that they needed to actually rise up and start taking back their own country. And actually, if you want to see specifically what that pressure looks like, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and take a look at this. We got an update from CENTCOM earlier this morning, and I quote, this one was last night actually. A blockade of Iranian ports has been fully implemented as U.S. forces maintain maritime superiority in the Middle East. An estimated 90% of Iran's economy is fueled by international trade by sea. In less than 36 hours since the blockade was implemented, U.S. forces have completely halted economic trade going into and out of Iran by sea. That was the update last night. We got a similar update this morning. You're not going to believe this. Similarly, from CENTCOM, during the first 48 hours of the U.S. blockade on ships entering and exiting Iranian ports, zero vessels have made their way past U.S. forces. Additionally, 9 individual vessels have complied with direction from U.S. forces to turn around and return towards an Iranian port or coastal area. So 9 tried, they hit the blockade, they turn around, complete and total shutdown. We have a report here from the Institute for the Study of War, highly respected institute here. Iran appears to have 3 courses of action that it could take to respond to the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports. It is unclear which course of action Iran will pursue at this time. The courses of action include option number 1. Iran could agree to a deal acceptable to the United States of America, which would likely require Iran to make concessions on its nuclear program as well as other issues. So this is the Iranian surrender, the capitulation, option 1. Option 2, Iran could attempt to run the blockade, a move that would almost certainly result in a U.S. response and possibly the seizure of Iranian vessels central to Iran's oil trade. That's option 2. They could try to just run their way through. Option 3, Iran could restart or widen the conflict, although it is unclear whether a resumption of the conflict would necessarily end the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports. Well, let's just think about that. If they broke the ceasefire, which is still ongoing, and Iran started firing ballistic missiles, rockets, drones at God knows where, they've already fired them at 14 individual countries in the region. If Iran started popping off again, do you think that we would stop the blockade? No, it wouldn't have any impact on whether or not we continue this blockade. The blockade is in effect until a deal has been reached. Now, insofar as this blockade and Iran's options go, we have a statement from none other than Stephen Miller late last night. Take a listen.
They said the president had no plan to secure the strait, and looks like it's going pretty well.
Never listen to a panickin, Jesse. You will do very well in life. Ignore the panicins, right? They were the ones who warned of calamity in Venezuela and ended up being one of the greatest single foreign policy, military, geopolitical maneuvers in world history.
True.
What you're watching now in Iran with the implementation of this blockade is the total resetting of the American power dynamic for the next 100 years. President Trump is saying, we, the United States, have the world's not just most powerful military, most powerful navy. And whoever controls the seas is able to control the outcomes in any foreign policy showdown. And so President Trump has put Iran in a box. He's played the checkmate move. And so now, no matter what path Iran chooses, America wins. If Iran chooses the path of a deal, then that's great for the world. That's great for everybody. If Iran chooses the path of economic strangulation by blockade, then the world will pass Iran by. New energy routes will be established. New supply chains will be established. Other nations throughout the region, throughout the world, and especially America, will power the world, and Iran will become a footnote. So that's the choice Iran has, and President Trump has put America into a win-win posture.
And that's what he does. Did you see the smile on Stephen Miller's face when this clip began? There it is. Look at that smile. Is this the face of a man inside the Trump administration who is worried about losing control of the dynamic with Iran? Or is this the face of a man who knows that Trump and the Trump administration, the United States, is in complete and total control? Is he worried about anything right now? Yeah, doesn't exactly seem like it. We have a report here from Iran Spectator. Said this, just blunt. I don't exactly know how to phrase this on X, but this naval blockade is going to suffocate the IRGC in Iran. Their revenue is going to hit $0. Because selling oil, guess what, is how Iran makes cash. Everything else, taxes, is received from reals, which has less value right now than toilet paper. So what happens when you can't pay your soldiers or your generals? Well, that's when people start defecting. That's when people start rising up and trying to overthrow the IRGC, taking them out in the streets. We saw that late last night. Another update here. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news, Iran folds. The Iranian regime has said that they will not test the United States in the Strait of Hormuz. So option 2, remember option 2 we spoke about a moment ago? They might try to make the run through the Hormuz. Are they going to do that? No. They said they're not going to test the blockade. They're not going to test the United States. What's more, this is hot off the press. Just in breaking news now, Iran is considering allowing ships to pass safely through the Hormuz on the Omani side of the Hormuz during negotiations with the United States of America. So the Iranians are considering saying, okay, no vessels through our waters on our side of the Hormuz. But if anybody wants to sail through the Omani side of the Hormuz, because remember, it shares a border with Oman on the far side, then you can go on through. It's all good. Ladies and gentlemen, this, which is hot off the press as of an hour ago, this is what complete and total capitulation looks like. Let me explain why. Prior to this war, in fact, for the last several decades, every vessel sailing in the Hormuz didn't even sail through Iranian territorial waters. The standard international shipping lanes through the Strait of Hormuz, guess what? Were entirely in Omani territorial waters. Everyone has always been sailing in Omani territorial waters. That's been the status quo, the modus operandi for decades. So if Iran comes out and says, okay, we're going to allow people to sail through the Omani waters, that's how it has always been. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, not only have the Iranian regime caved to President Trump's blockade, they're now feeling so much pressure that, guess what? They are on the cusp of entirely agreeing to President Trump's demands, all of them, every single one of them. We have some reports here. First off, as a reminder, just in, President Trump this morning said there will be no deal unless Iran gives up their nuclear weapons. Of course, we've heard that a million times. However, breaking news, the U.S. and Iran, as of this morning, have agreed in principle, to hold a meeting, but have not yet decided on a date or a venue. So the talks, the negotiations are ongoing. What do these negotiations look like? Complete and total capitulation of the Iranian regime. That's what is on the table right now. Urgent, coming out of Saudi Arabia News, the official Saudi news outlet. The United States and Iran are nearing an agreement to end the war. This is coming out just 3 hours ago from a Saudi Arabian news outlet. 22 million followers. We hear from the beautiful White House press secretary Carolyn Leavitt. She says this morning, President Trump, Iran conflict very close to being over. Tehran, the Iranian regime, wants to make a deal very badly. They are getting desperate. Trump, we called this the boa constrictor method. Trump is a boa constrictor. He is increasingly applying pressure, even more pressure. And now the Iranian regime is looking to tap out. And this is coming from White House press secretary Carolyn Leavitt just earlier this morning. What's more, urgent, coming from our Saudi Arabian news outlet, Trump will go to Pakistan if an agreement is reached with Iran. Yesterday, we were talking about maybe this final agreement would be signed off on somewhere in Europe. This morning, Trump says he would, in theory, go to Pakistan if, more like when, this final agreement is reached. Really, this would look more like Trump accepting the surrender of the Iranian regime. That's why he would go. So, folks, there you have it. You and I both know that President Trump wouldn't get on board of Air Force One and fly over 7,000 miles all the way to Pakistan if he wasn't confident that what he was going to get from the Iranians is the deal that he wanted. What's that deal? America first, unconditional surrender, shut it all down, you do what we say. America first. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, absolutely stellar news. Between you and me, I was getting ready to go live with today's broadcast. And in fact, the reason why I was 2 minutes late to today's live show is because this popped up on my feed. I had to incorporate this into the broadcast. Apologize, I was 2 minutes late. Iran considers allowing ships to pass safely through the Strait of Hormuz on the Omani side during Guys, this is how we started. This is how it has always been. Everyone has always been sailing through the Omani side. This is Iran meeting President Trump's demands while trying to save face and look like they're the tough guys. This is capitulation. That is because this is what's always been happening. I saw this and I said, man, okay, I got to be late. 2 minutes to today's show. I got to get this in here. This is just something else. Folks, we've been saying here, Iran, they are losing this war, of course, but also Trump is applying the pressure. They're going to crack any day now. They are cracking. They're crack-a-lacking. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another massive story that I want to talk about. Not only is the Iranian regime cracking, so to speak, but so is China. Do me a favor. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe before you forget about it. Make sure to do it. Let's talk China now, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump is set to fly on over to Beijing in right around a month from now exactly to meet with none other than the CCP leader, Xi Jinping. Ni hao ma. But I'll tell you what, This morning, President Trump himself just dropped an absolute bombshell on the CCP, China, in a very public fashion, I might add, really putting the CCP on notice for all of their anti-American antics that they have been engaging in for years, decades now. And as a consequence of Trump putting the CCP on notice, now President Xi Jinping is absolutely melting down. He has been caught red-handed by President Trump. Let's take a look at what President Trump had to say this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them also and the entire world. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. President Xi will give me a big, fat hug when I get there in a few weeks. We are working together very smartly and very well. Doesn't that beat fighting? But remember, we are very good at fighting. If we have to, far better than anyone else. President Donald J. Trump. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not overstating this. Bear with me. This message here, believe it or not, is one of the most astute, effective geopolitical messages any world leader has perhaps ever sent. And you might not realize it at first glance, but what we're going to do right now is break down why this message here is so ingenious and effective and why China is panicking, melting down following this message. Let's get into it. First, President Trump says, China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Hormuz. This reframes the U.S. naval blockade from a blockade or aggression into a benevolent service and a permanent guarantee of safe transit through the Hormuz. President Trump reminds China that ultimately he's doing them a favor. He then goes on to say, I am doing it for them and also the world. So not only is Trump's blockade of the Hormuz and a subsequent permanent reopening of the Hormuz a gift to China, which, mind you, imports 50% of its crude oil through the Hormuz, but also what Trump is doing here is a gift to the entire world. Little reminder. Then Trump goes on to say, he says, this situation will never happen again. Trump is reminding everyone that as long as the United States is in fact the global superpower, and we are, that shutting down international waterways in an attempt to extort money out of the entire world, which is what the Iranian regime has been doing, and which is what China has been turning a blind eye to, well, as long as we are in charge, that will never be acceptable. We will shut it down every single time. Trump then goes on to say, he says, they have agreed not to send weapons to Iran. Folks, this little tidbit that he squeezed in right there, this is a trap for China. This is a master level, 5-dimensional trap for the CCP. Trump just publicly let China know that he knows what they've been up to. And now, whether China confirms or denies or remains silent, it doesn't even matter. Trump has set the record. Trump has put this into public domain. Now, everyone knows if they try to deny, they're going to look guilty. If they ignore, they'll look guilty. If they say yes, well, then they're guilty. And we know that they're guilty. And Trump has just publicly put that out there into the world. Trump then goes on to say, President Xi will give me a big fat hug when I get to Beijing in a few weeks. Folks, with this, President Trump has just framed this upcoming trip to Beijing as really a victory lap for him and for the United States of America, reminding Xi Jinping that he has absolutely zero leverage over the United States of America. Trump then says, doesn't that beat fighting? This is President Trump offering the carrot, so to speak, to the Chinese, while also reminding them that he carries a very big stick as well, he then says. But remember, we are very good at fighting. If we have to, far better than anyone else. What is this? This is the stick that we mentioned just a moment ago. Trump makes peace conditional on whether or not the Chinese do what he says. And if they don't, well, just keep in mind that the United States of America is very good at fighting, the best, as President Trump says, as the entire world has very publicly seen over the last 6 weeks. And by the way, this is a very good reminder to give to the CCP. In fact, take a look at this. I've got something else I want to show you. New breaking news. Iran used this is information that came out this morning. We have the confirmation now. Iran used a Chinese-built spy satellite to target U.S. military bases across the Middle East during the war, monitoring Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, Muwafaq Satellite in Jordan, the U.S. 5th Fleet Naval Base in Bahrain, and Erbil Airport in Iraq, per leaked Iranian military documents that got leaked today. We have the proof. This Chinese satellite was built and transferred in orbit to the IRGC Aerospace Force in late 2024 by a Chinese company called Earth Eye Corporation, with imagery taken before and after Iranian drone and missile strikes. China's foreign ministry denied the claim, calling it not true. Well, guess what? It is. We have the leaked documents, and President Trump knows. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to be very clear, China knows what they've been doing. Of course, they're the ones that have been doing it. And we know what China has been doing. And now China knows that we know what they've been doing. China has been caught red-handed. That is the message Trump just relayed to the entire world. Right now, China is completely exposed on the world stage. They've just lost their Iranian proxy force. Their economy is in shambles. Right now, they're facing a massive domestic oil and energy crisis. Their military equipment, guess what? That they had been selling and giving to the Iranians, well, that Chinese military equipment has now proven to be absolutely no match to the United States military. And now, President Trump is out here on Truth Social playing mind games with them, getting inside of their head less than a month from his big trip to Beijing, where he'll be shaking hands with Xi Jinping himself. And you know what? Good. As far as I'm concerned, it is about damn time that we actually have a president in the White House who's willing to put the CCP back in their place. More importantly, put an end to all of the CCP's predatory and anti-American behavior. And why? I'll tell you why. America first. Ladies and gentlemen, there is our massive China update. You can tell when I'm talking about China, I get a little bit heated. I'm most impassioned as a broadcaster when I'm talking about China. It pisses me off. I'll tell you what, China's such a big deal. They are the number one global enemy of the United States of America. That much is clear. And so few people ever talk about China. Very few of our right-wing podcasters, talking heads, nobody is talking about China. And I'm like, this is the biggest deal. This is the deal. This is what it is all about, is China. China. Very few people talk about it. Here, we're breaking it down. China, Trump knows about it. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, we have another little story here I want to share with you. And this one pertains to China also. You're going to like this. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, while the entire world has been hyper-focused on the ongoing conflict with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, President Trump has just quietly pulled off one of the single largest geopolitical victories in recent global history. But now, who, you might ask, did President Trump just achieve this victory against? Well, guess what? None other than China, the CCP. Just the other day, it was officially announced that the United States and Indonesia, of all places, have just agreed on an absolutely massive joint defense agreement. And I'll tell you what, because of this new Indonesian US joint defense agreement, China, the CCP, is absolutely melting down. Here is the official announcement of this joint agreement. Joint statement on establishment of a US-Indonesia major defense cooperation partnership. The U.S. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and Indonesian Minister of Defense announced the establishment of this major defense cooperation partnership between the United States and India. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's really break all of this down. This is Indonesia right here. There is China. This, with the red border here, is Indonesia. First off, let me show you where Indonesia is. It's right here. And let me tell you why, really, this is such a big deal. Indonesia now is a series of absolutely massive islands that form this one big country. Pretty much all of the water that you are looking at here, this ocean space here, falls under Indonesian jurisdiction, meaning that Indonesia is effectively the gatekeeper of everything you're looking at here. No one goes in or out effectively of the South China Sea, for instance, without Indonesia's say so. You can start to picture why this is such a big deal and why China is so upset about it. Take a look at this. This is a live maritime traffic tracking website. Every little dot or arrow on this website is a real-time naval vessel sailing around the ocean. Of course, we're looking at Indonesia. What this defense agreement between the United States and Indonesia does is this. It expands U.S. military aircraft access to the entirety of Indonesian airspace. It also allows the U.S. Navy to effectively maintain a permanent presence in the Strait of Malacca and also the entirety of Indonesian water space. What is the Strait of Malacca? You're looking at it. It's right here. Gets a lot of traffic. This is the Strait of Malacca, right here. And ultimately, also, this new defense agreement allows the United States to set up a permanent presence and to perch up in what is effectively China's very own backyard. But okay, why does this matter? Well, let's get some information on the table here. Folks, bear with me. 40% of all global trade passes through the Strait of Malacca right here. 40% of all global trade passes through the Strait of Malacca. 80% of China's crude oil imports similarly passes through the Strait of Malacca. What's more, 70% of China's exports travel through the Strait of Malacca. China's entire economy is built on exporting things. They're an export economy. 70% of every single thing they export goes through the Strait of Malacca off the coast of Indonesia. Now, here's the problem for China. Here's the big problem for China. China doesn't exactly have a good relationship with Indonesia. In fact, China and Indonesia have actually butted heads a lot in recent years because specifically over territorial disputes in the South China Sea. China says that's our water. Indonesia says, no, that's actually our water. They're butting heads. They've got territorial disputes. They don't like each other. So what President Trump has just done is set up a defense deal, a major, unprecedented defense deal with Indonesia, which pretty much gives the United States of America permanent oversight on China's most geostrategic shipping route, the Strait of Malacca. To say the least, China is absolutely seething right now. They've been so focused on Iran. Everybody's been so focused on Iran. Trump slipped in here and locked in this deal with Indonesia. China never saw it coming. Nobody did. In fact, take a look at this excellent write-up. I want to read this to you, folks. Trump just wrapped his hands around China's throat and started squeezing hard. While everyone was screaming chaos and Trump has no plan, Trump's team quietly flipped Indonesia, the fourth largest country on earth and guardian of the Strait of Malacca, to work alongside U.S. interests. That narrow little gut punch of water carries, as we said, 80% of China's annual oil imports. Now, after a lightning round of big deals, tariff carve-outs, fossil fuel pacts, critical minerals, nuclear reactor promises, and a shiny new major defense agreement signed at the Pentagon with Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War, Indonesia has gone from neutral to America's newest geostrategic squeeze toy. All because Jakarta, the big city, the capital of Indonesia, I believe, was choking on its own energy crisis. Because of the Iran war, they were rationing gas. They were sending bureaucrats home and staring down 32% tariffs until they bent the knee to the Trump administration, to the United States of America. Trump put pressure on them, make the deal. They did. Hormuz was already locked down. We locked it down. That's the Trump naval blockade. Now, we also just grabbed the Strait of Malacca. China's entire energy lifeline is now sitting in Trump's iron fist. He just took complete control of it. This is straight up existential strangulation for the CCP. Beijing is about to learn what real leverage feels like. Sweet dreams, commies. The adults are back in charge. Seems to be the case. So, folks, yes, just to be perfectly clear about all of this, President Trump has kept China in the center of his eye this entire time. In fact, as we now know, this entire conflict with Iran was really aimed at shutting down China. As we've all said here a million times, the Iranian regime has effectively served as nothing more than a Chinese-backed proxy force. Trump is shutting it down, whilst also scooping up countries in China's own backyard and pushing them in accordance with our American agenda. And you know what? Good. America first. There is the massive Indonesian update, ladies and gentlemen. This is a massive story. I haven't seen anyone talking about this. Have you seen anybody? I haven't. I said, this is a massive development. Everybody's been talking about Iran. I know we have. This is huge. And once more, Trump, in 30 days exactly, Trump is stepping on board of Air Force One and he's flying over to Beijing. He's going to Beijing. That's the tentative plan, at least, to go meet with Xi Jinping. What do you think these conversations are going to look like? Trump has just spent the last 15 months shutting down all of the CCP's leverage globally, worldwide. This is Venezuela, Panama Canal, Greenland Defense Agreement, Indonesian Defense Agreement. This is shutting down Chinese fentanyl going into Mexico, at which point it gets turned into narcotics and shipped up into our country. A lot of dead Americans. This is shutting down Colombia, getting Petro back in line. This is what? It's all of it. It's Iran, of course. It's all about Iran. It's all of it. In fact, Trump might even, can you imagine if before this meeting takes place, Trump is actually able to put the squeeze on Cuba? Imagine if Trump checks off Cuba before the Beijing meeting a month from now. Can Trump get this done in the next month? Wouldn't put it past him at the pace that he is operating at. I mean, I'm getting whiplash just thinking about it. Might be the case. Now, do me a favor, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe. At this point in the broadcast today, folks, what I would love to do is check these Rumble rants and check these super chats. Thank you all. Bear with me here. I'm going to get these pulled up here. What a lovely Wednesday morning. A lot of good news. Every day, it's like, man, a lot of good news every single day these days. This whole, man, if you are one of these people that has been screaming for a month and a half now, Trump has no plan. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't even know what the Hormuz is. Have you seen those people? Those people must be feeling pretty dumb these days. Given the way things have gone, those people must start feeling a little bit stupid at this point. I need to put on the super chat. Of course, the hat is going on. You can't forget about that. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the first super chat of the day is from Alafi. He says, taxes, I hate them. Oh, yeah, it's tax day. I paid, must have been a month and a half ago. It's tax day. That's right. Hopefully get a refund. Get your refund. It's a big day. As much as you hate paying them, you kind of have to do it, I hate to say. Thank you very much, Alafi. Thank you very much. We have another super chat here from Patricia Luna. Thank you very much. She says, I love your drive-by comments when you're showing news feeds. It's exactly what we were all thinking. Trump is the GOAT boss. The GOAT boss. It's all about the little drive-by comments. and you can't script those. That just pops up on the fly. Yep. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mrs. Luna. Thank you for being here again today. Thank you very much. We have another super chat. This is from one of our fine British viewers. This is a guy. His name is Shirin Bakshi. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All the way from the United Kingdom. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the show. Thank you. Kevin Stankiewicz. I've seen him before. He says, let's make Arizona and Nevada solid red Republican and flip New Mexico red Republican 2, Colorado 2, Republican governor of California 2. Hey, let's try to do it. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate that. If the Lord wills it. Thank you. Coffee, crystals, and conversation. Massive super chat. $50 super chat. Thank you. Says this. I've got the hiccups today. Matt, I used to watch 4 or 5 podcasters to get the info you alone give in one video. God bless you and God bless the United States of America, our soldiers and veterans, and protect Trump. Morris Force for life. We are a providential nation. Some people get mad when I say that. I genuinely believe that. The United States of America is a providential nation. We are a providential people. Give me a 1 in the chat if you believe that. We have a providential purpose, even more so, a providential purpose. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Coffee, crystals, and conversation. Thank you very much. Sincerely, thank you very much. When you guys say that, you say, I used to watch these people. Now I just watch Matt Morris. I watch the Morris Force. Makes my heart flutter. I'm honored. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Moonlit Anubis says, may his goats be plentiful. Oh, about the IRGC commander that got taken out by his own people, by the Iranian people overnight. Yeah, hey, rest in peace, buddy. Goodbye. Not going to shed any tears. Marvin Hyatt, he says, Matt, the appliance home delivery service is 90% subcontractors. Thank you. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. I don't follow, but hey, thank you very much. Thank you. Q, he said, this is a big super chat from Q. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. He says, love the show, Matt. I never miss a show. A shout out to Raya Eagle Wings and a Luffy, the Delta Morse Force. Hi to the family. I haven't even told you. Last night, we have a 4.5-year-old daughter and a 2.5-year-old son. Little Sophia and little Wilhelm. And we took them last night to see their very first movie in the movie theater. We went and saw Mario 2, Mario Galaxy, Super Mario Galaxy, the new Mario movie. And I'll tell you what, it's the first time these kids have been in a movie theater. They loved it. To them, this was like the most awesome thing ever. So that was fun. That was exciting last night. We saw the new Mario movie. That was cool. We saw Bowser Jr. and he was like, he had a robot. It was crazy. That was crazy. The kids were loving it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Renbro, he says, Roosevelt's old saying needs to be changed. He says, I speak louder and carry a big stick, and I use it too. President Trump, Trump wants to use the carrot. He wants to use the carrot, but he's also not afraid to use the stick. Ba-ba. See this? I've got a stick. Ba-ba-ba. I've got one too. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have thank you, Renbro. Matt, whoa. 99.99 super chat from my favorite Raya. Thank you, Raya. I appreciate that. That's a massive amount of support. Thank you. She says, you're the best, Matt, best channel members and patriots. God bless. God bless. God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America. And God bless you and your handsome husband. Thank you very much, Raya. And Finn, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Sincerely, it's just a never-ending amount of support. And thank you for helping keep the chat under control. You're a moderator. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, ma'am. Thank you very much. Renbro says, Trump needs to form new NATO nations. F everyone else. You weren't there for us, not going to be there for you. You can see, listen, NATO is going to be shuffled up here coming out of this. Trump is not happy. We've seen that some of these Middle Eastern, these Arab Gulf nations, they seem to be perhaps better allies than some of the European nations. Trump is going to be shifting up this dynamic coming out of this. Once this is done, the cards are going to fall. The chips, the cards, whatever the saying is. They're going to fall. The point is, things are going to fall into a new place, okay? The times, they are a-changin', as Bob Dylan once said. Thank you very much. I appreciate. I'm going to reload here and make sure I haven't missed anything. We have a massive Rumble rant from MN Froggy. He says, thank you, Matt. Your name was blowing up the Graham Allen chat this morning when he was addressing China, and if there was anyone else speaking about it, the Morris Force got your back. Yes, Morris Force, we're taking over. You're in all the chats. I see you on Twitter. We are taking over. Good. Good. Spread the message. And really, like, the message is just we just got to set the record straight, because there's so much fake news, propaganda, pardon my language, bullshit going around these days. We just got to spread the correct and proper news here. People are getting it twisted. We got every day on this show, we got to untwist it, because everybody else is twisting it. Thank you very much. That's cool. That's funny. I appreciate that. Quote Patriot USA, Rumble rant, says, I don't mean collaborate with Promethean Action. Speak with them offline like they're very intelligent. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that Rumble rant. Thank you very much. Ma Elena says, Matt, it is even bigger than just Iran and China. It's getting rid of the UK and City of London stranglehold. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm going to reload here and make sure I have not missed anything. I think we have some more YouTube super chats. We do. Shirin Bakshi again, all the way from Great Britain. Thank you very much. Oi, thank you very much. Isn't it? Thank you. And Greg Wire. Greg Wire here says, hey, Matt, love your show. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Sincerely. Without you, and you, even you in the back, you in the front, the two of you over there, without you, there would be no show. Okay? Can you imagine if I got up here and I sat here talking to myself and nobody was listening? Well, I'd get depressed. I'd get a little bit sad. So to be clear, without you, there is no show. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Even you. Thank you. And we have, good Lord, another handful of super chats here. Excelsior Trading. Thank you very much. You saw how the market's up today, big time. I'm sure you saw that. Thank you very much. How's the portfolio looking, ladies and gentlemen? Looking good, looking better at least than it was a couple weeks ago. Thank you very much. Thank you. William, $50 super chat. William Rice. Thank you. Not even a message. I'm a little bit offended. You didn't even say hi. But you know what? I'll look over it. I'll look past it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, William Rice. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's a big one too. Thank you. Another one here. Excelsior, he says, you were the first, Matt, you're the first person on Earth to announce airplanes in the air with Midnight Hammer Strike. What the hell? You're got ESP? I'm not sure what that means. It might be true. It might be true. Listen, hey, we are on point in this community, in this show. We do our best. We are on point. And really, I'll give you some insight into my personal life. It kind of makes my wife mad sometimes, because if we're sitting around the house relaxing, if we're at dinner, we're at a restaurant, I'm on my phone. Hold up, breaking news, sweetheart. Hold up, wait a minute. Put down the steak. Hold up, got to put down the hamburger, please. Breaking news on the phone. Oh my gosh, we got to go home. We got to go live. There's breaking news, sweetheart. She's like, oh, okay, here we go. Breaking news again. Breaking news again. So hey, the point is, I'm probably too on the ball. We are on the ball probably a little bit too much, if I'm being honest with you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I guess it's part of the job. Thank you very much. Lying Dog, thank you. He's a new member of the community, new supporter. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have touched all of our bases today. Now, we're gonna do something here that I didn't even tell you that we're gonna do. Today, on this lovely Wednesday, we are going to do a little bit of an after show, an extended show over on Rumble exclusively. We have some on-the-ground investigative journalism taking a look at the city in the United States of America where every crime is legal. Allegedly, the city in America where every crime is legal. On-the-ground investigative journalism. We're going to take a look at that, but we're going to do it exclusively over on Rumble. So if you're new to the show, subscribe, like, go on over to Rumble, Matt Morris TV on Rumble. We're going to deep dive that now. We're going to do it here in just a moment. Go to Rumble, Matt Morris TV. If I can't persuade you to go to Rumble and join us for the after show, then I appreciate you tuning in. But we're going to wrap up the segment on YouTube and on Twitch. For the YouTubers and Twitchers that are not going to come to Rumble, I'll see you tomorrow for another live broadcast, breaking it all down. Of course, this afternoon on Rumble and YouTube, we'll have all the videos. The videos, we've got 4 videos today, so those will be out here. But come on over to Rumble. Come on over to Rumble, and we're going to continue the party here for another hour or so, okay? But if not, thank you very much. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care and stay safe, of course. Well, I need to figure out how to go. There we go. All right, folks, I'm offline on YouTube. Now I need to